As you may know, we've been recalling a series of interviews, behind-the-scenes interviews, programmes that I recorded back in the mid to late 1980s for a Sheffield video company, Televideo. We went behind the scenes at Sheffield Wednesday, at Hull City, at Leeds United, but also at Manchester City. Yes, Maine Road recalled in this hour or so of nostalgia. City at the time were in the second tier, looking to rebuild with a raft of very promising young managers and a relatively young manager as well at the time in Mel Machin, and an even younger guy with the microphone, recalling Manchester City from almost 40 years ago. Welcome to Maine Road, stately home of Manchester City, one of the truly great clubs of British football. A club currently unaccustomed to its absence from the First Division, but determined to get back there very, very soon. Come with me and find out just why optimism here is so high. And we'll show you in this unique view behind the scenes at Manchester City just how the club intend to tackle the climb back to the pinnacle of the past. You can always tell the size of a football club from its portals. The grandness of the place stands out immediately. The size of it, the tradition you can feel. And a suite of rooms leading off from this entrance hall at Manchester City. We have the directors and press entrance almost straight ahead of me, the players, the dressing room to my right, and also a suite of offices and hospitality rooms also leading down a corridor to my right-hand side. But we're going to take you first right to the heart of the club, the reason for so much tradition. Yes, we're going to go along to the trophy room to my left, and they're proudly kept in the boardroom. Come with me. Well, here we are in the boardroom at Maine Road. You tend to talk with a hushed tone in here out of reverence, really, to the achievements of the past, which absolutely glint and shine out at you from every nook and cranny. There's so much silverware around this room, reminders of the great trophies, the great achievements of the past and the grand history of Manchester City. Well, here it is, the honours board at Maine Road, and Manchester City's aim over the next few years, I'm sure, is to replace it with a new one by filling in all the gaps down here. The board chronicles the history of this great club all the way back to 1894. Stacks of honours all the way down, too numerous to mention individually, except perhaps that the most significant one is the last one. You're always as good, really, as your last achievement. And you have to go back 11 years now to 1976 for Manchester City's last major honour when they won the Football League Cup. But very significant too is the date 1986, because perhaps when we look back in a few years' time, we'll look back at that date as the time when the Renaissance here at Maine Road started, when Manchester City started the climb back to greatness, because it's in the youth policy now that so much hope is stored. And it was in 1986 that the club won the FA Youth Cup, and that could turn out to be, with the youngsters coming into the team, a highly significant triumph. And perhaps just as significant as that Youth Cup triumph of 2 seasons ago is this, last season's Manchester City trophy. It may not have got a lot of publicity, but it really is very important. It's the championship trophy for the Central League, and it merely confirms what we were saying before, that Manchester City are building the foundation, the basis for a revival with the youth policy. And so many of the youngsters who are being seen now in the second division Manchester City side came through the team that won this trophy last season, the Central League title. The development of young talent doesn't just start when you see the players emerging in the first team. First, they have to be rooted out from a labyrinth of local junior leagues, and the man in charge of the digging operation is Ken Barnes. Well, Ken Barnes, Chief Scout at Maine Road, a role that you've fulfilled now, I think, for some 12 years, and your association goes back a lot longer than that. But just how do you identify what you actually do here? What is your specific function?
Well, I suppose one would be that you're responsible for bringing all the young talent into the club. That's what I'm supposed to be here for. Apart from the fact that I do watch professional football as well. I'm looking at the lower regions in the Football League, in 4th and 3rd Division. See if there's any sort of up-and-coming stars of the future as well.
You seem to be doing your job.
Well, okay, we've been a bit lucky perhaps in that respect.
And how exactly do you set out to spot the kids? Is there a formula, a magic formula?
Not particularly. Not particularly. At first you'd just like to see a laddie that's got the normal necessary skills or ideas when you see him playing, little bits and pieces you see, and if you feel that's the one, that's it.
Let's have a wander round and open a few more doors. But which one? Well, we did promise you a special inside view at Maine Road, so we've walked right through a door marked as strictly private, players and officials only, and we're right now into the business end of Maine Road. We're in the home team dressing room, where a little later today Manchester City will prepare for another important home match. Laid out all the way around the room is the Manchester City kit, the kit that the players will come in to find neatly laundered and crisply ironed a little later on, with spare kit on the table in the centre of the room. And this, I suppose you could say, is also the first dressing room talk of the day, though by no means as important as the words that will be uttered right here a little later, pre-match, by the Manchester City team manager, Mel Machin. But right now we're going to meet another very important person on match days, indeed right the way through the week, and it seems right the way through the year at Maine Road, a man who's kept permanently busy, the physio Roy Bailey, whose room is just through here. Roy Bailey, are you busy just now?
We've got one or two minor problems, but I don't think, nothing much really for Saturday now.
There is never really a time when you're slack totally, is there? Not during a football season, I shouldn't think.
Certainly not, no. We pick the odd things up during the week, and obviously on the Saturdays we pick the various injuries up.
Well, that's crunch time for you, match day. That's when you've got to have the speed of a flying doctor. And to help you in that, you've got this, well, fairly lightweight magic bag. Or that's not what I call it anyway. I don't know how you say it.
Alan, everybody seems to call it a magic bag, but it's really the bare essentials of a medical bag you would take onto a football pitch when you see somebody injured.
So there's nothing witch doctorish about this, no?
No, there's not. No, not really. These various things you see in the bag, as from inflatable splints for obviously the broken bones and broken limbs that we come across from time to time. Various other little items we have, a cool spray for the lads that's just got the ordinary minor kicks on the legs, and
mostly bandaging really, isn't it? Plasters?
Yes, plasters. I generally just carry the odd bits and pieces about with me all the time. There is some ordinary bandages you can see often. A player will shout over to us that his sock's fallen down or his tie-up's come off. So we carry things like this, and the obviously smelling salts.
Have you ever been caught out in a match situation before where you've not had enough of one particular thing?
No, I've not. Touch wood.
So you always put more in there than you need?
Always carry more than I need, yes.
Smashing. And of course, for an away trip, which you have coming up and you're preparing for this weekend, you have to sort of look ahead and cater for just about every eventuality, because things might not just happen on the pitch, presumably. Somebody might fall in a hotel room or
Well,
whatever.
That's right, Alan. We tend to take everything from the treatment room. We pack them in 2 or 3 medical bags, from the normal things of plaster to plaster of Paris. So hopefully we get prepared for everything at any time.
Ever ready.
Yes, that's right.
Rather like Roy Bailey's treatment of players' injuries, Manchester City have a tradition that has to be handled with extreme care. Twice league champions, twice League Cup winners, 4 times FA Cup holders and once winners of the European Cup Winners' Cup. Back in the dressing room we find reserve team manager Tony Book. Still involved with the club, Tony, after all these years. How long is it now?
Yes, I've been here 21 years now, Alan, and still going strong.
In a variety of roles. Your old number 2 shirt is here.
That's right.
Do you still hanker to get back into that?
Yeah, when I see it, when we play a few charity matches together, we still get together now and again. You know, the Colin Bells, the Franny Lees, Mike Sotheby's, and the Alan Oakses and Tim Pardos. We still get together and play the odd charity match, and naturally, you know, that's the jersey they throw at me.
While the first team hasn't been noted for success in recent years, you've had a great deal of it lower down the structure, haven't you, with an FA Youth Cup success 1986? And last year you were instrumental in winning the Central League Championship for the reserves. How much satisfaction did that give you when you put that alongside your playing achievements, for instance?
Yeah, it gives us a lot of satisfaction, because there's nothing more exciting than seeing a young player coming to the club and maturing and coming through the teams and getting into the first team and holding a place down and being a regular in that first team. I mean, that basically is what football's all about. We were very, very fortunate about 4 years ago that a crowd of lads came together where basically we knew from the offset that they had a little bit of a chance, because in their first season here they went through the Lancashire League and lost 1 game, and you know, to do that was astonishing really for a lot of first year lads coming into the club. And from there it's gone on from there really, because as you say, they won the Youth Cup, and then they went into the Central League and they took that by storm.
And with such experience on the coaching staff, Manchester City are finally emerging from the shadows. And here's where the butterflies are most fiercely felt. You know, teams kid the public a little bit by running confidently onto the pitch, but I'm sure at this point, in the tunnel of a famous ground like here at Maine Road, there's just a jitter or two. You almost get a tremor walking out alone onto the pitch as I am right now. It is match day. A lot of activity is going to be happening later. It's not a great deal at the moment. The stands are empty. The pitch, well, I was going to say the pitch is empty, but in fact there's a fixture here at work, every bit as much a fixture in fact as the Maine Road turf itself. Yes, the groundsman, dear old Stan Gibson, a servant of this club for nigh on 28 years, diligently preparing the surface for today's match. Let's go and have a quick word with Stan. Hello, Stan. Oh, sorry to interrupt. Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
All right.
Yes, thank
Do
you.
you live in Manchester?
Yes, all right, next door.
Who do you support?
Sure. That's silly.
What are match days like, though? You imagine that they're perhaps your busiest, is that right?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
What kind of things do you do on match day?
Well, the first thing is I come in about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, make sure the pitch is okay, because you never know what problems you get while everybody's in bed, so we've got to make sure the game's on.
You're here at 5 in the morning?
Sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning, yes.
And don't go home till what time?
Last out, about 9 o'clock.
Yes, yes. So
A night match could be midnight.
you're replacing the divots, of course, after the
Definitely,
game?
yeah.
Yeah. Do the players ever blame you when anything goes wrong on the pitch?
Yeah, now and again they do, yeah.
What kind of things?
The ball bubbles, you know, or blame the pitch. Always blame the groundsman.
But do you then get the credit when the pitch is playing well and the team does well?
Sometimes they do. All depends.
Also with his feet firmly on the ground, team manager Mel Machin. Mel, fairly new to the job, one of the biggest in football really, as manager of Manchester City. How do you feel things have gone so far?
Well, up to yet. I feel that having started with the boys, they've taken things on at an incredible rate. These last, 8 games, we don't look as if we're going to be beaten, which is a good feeling, and certainly as skill factor goes, as individuals, the boys have shown what they're capable of doing. The last game, for instance, the Plymouth game here, we played some football, which I felt was really out of this world. Some of the kind of attacking play which we had, which was better than the game against Huddersfield, which we won 10-0, like, or 10-1. Keep on giving them silly goals away. But it was nice to get a clean sheet on Saturday. But I do feel that we're still in the process of learning, and I feel that we've got a very sound, solid base for the future, and I really feel that the future is very bright for us, and I think that these young players are certainly going to be household names in the future.
It's unusual, I think, for a club at any level to acquire so many youngsters of this pedigree all at one time. This presumably hasn't been entirely an accident. There must have been a lot of groundwork that's gone into that.
Well, I think the groundwork was started out with Ken Barnes, of course, with finding these youngsters, and the majority of the first team now, I would think I've probably played 8 at one time who have been members of the FA Youth Cup winning team 2 years ago, and to have them all in at one time is some feat in itself, because it's nice for me to work with talented young players, and to see them day in and day out hopefully improving, which I feel they are. Yeah, a lot's got to be said also for Tony Book, because I do believe Tony and Glenn Pardo have worked with them as youth team players. I feel that I've taken them on a little bit further than that, and they're certainly going to, as I say, take it on that in the future.
Book and Barnes, men to share the management load, but of course the primary figure in that respect is Wiley Scott, Jimmy Frizzell. How does the partnership work, in fact? Where does the responsibility lie? Can you separate it?
Well, I think it's very hard to separate, because we're both involved with different things. Mel naturally is involved with all the team, but that is something I've gone through over 20 years. So probably more on the contract side and players and looking at players. But really it's a combined effort. At the end of the day, if we get success, then it's we both have the same success or the same failure. We are in it together, and we swim or sink together. Certainly Mel came in because of his coaching ability, and certainly that was one of the reasons I was really keen on getting him when I first became manager of the club. It failed then because he was under contract to Norwich, so certainly at the end of last season, when we had been relegated, we were able to persuade him, but Mel wanted a different title, and so team manager, where we share the responsibility. Nobody is getting any more or any less than one another, and I think in management you certainly need somebody to talk to. So certainly we have something together that is gelling very well, and the only thing that's important is the success of Manchester City.
And City chairman Peter Swales is convinced that he has the right management blend. City this season look to have great cause for optimism for the future. I don't know whether you've set an immediate target for the First Division, but what are your thoughts now with the team shaping up so well?
Well, I think obviously we've all got whatever the management says, we've all got one eye on the First Division. I know our supporters have, and if I was honest, I have. We've had a terrific run, we've had some marvellous publicity. I just hope it can keep going. It's been nice for me to come in here and not have too many people shouting at me, really.
Yes. Yes.
Very pleasant. And I'm more than pleased that the kind of policy that we set out on, bringing our own players through, has started to pay off.
Was that a financial necessity to some degree?
Yes. We thought, well, we can't go on forever spending money and probably wasting money if the player doesn't work out. We'll try something new. We'll invest money into Platt Lane, and I don't think that's been given the credit for what it should have had, really, because the complex at Platt Lane has played a big part in what's happened. I know the players have got to be found, by the people like Ken Barnes and his staff, and I know they've got to be looked after by Tony Books and Glenn Pardos, and I know at the end of the day they've got to be motivated and keyed up and trained by Mel Machin and Jimmy. You know, but the complex has played its part, and it's a nice opportunity to mention that. People say, oh, well, you've spent a lot of money. Well, that was £1 million well spent in my view.
Hey, yeah, Steve! Come on! Cliff! Hold it, Cliff. The service is all right. Me now, it's just the players. That's Glenn! Go on then! Put your head on that! Yes! You on tablets? Did he take the defender away and check me out? That's down one.
John, after all these years in the game, is training still enjoyable?
Where you go, Ken?
Yeah, it's you get your days where you're up and you're down, but I'm enjoying the football.
It's been mostly ball work this morning, shooting and heading. Is that the most enjoyable aspect of
but if
training?
you would have been here yesterday, it was no ball work. He was running around here, and I think everyone was a bit tired. So today is a short session, which is fine with us anyway.
Finally, how does it feel to be something of a father figure among the team here? Must be one of the youngest you played with.
Excuse me. Okay, I'm probably the oldest there, but they bring you back down to their age at times.
Take the space. That's it.
Mel, is this typical of a Manchester City training session, what we've seen this morning?
I just think at the moment we're not scoring enough goals, so some goal practice won't harm the lads.
Once again, Steve Redmond was the City leg that intercepted that one. And now there's a chance for Ian Scott. A very good break put through by Imre Varadi, and Scott scores. Gidman with the shot, and he scores. John Gidman. There are two or three City players now who can hit these, but that one was a quickly taken one by McNabb. Stewart's shot, and it's gone in. It looks as if the touch was from David White. Paul Stewart with the shot. Hinchcliffe. Once again, Stewart behind his man. This time he's just got one defender with him. Stewart doing well. What a superb goal by Paul Stewart. It looked as if he'd wasted a chance at one stage with 3 Millwall defenders round him and the goalkeeper. Tackling by Berry, but City move forward with Simpson. Quick ball forward for Varadi. Well, what a start for Manchester City. Just over a minute gone, and Imre Varadi opens his account. Well, the ball getting behind Berry, and here's Varadi with another effort at goal, and he scored. Well, that really was a goal from nothing. Finds Simpson. Cross comes in for Varadi. Imre Varadi scores his hat-trick. 48 minutes, 3 minutes into the second half, almost as quick as his first goal. Blake. And some space for Hinchcliffe. Scott. And the shot by White. What a tremendous start for Manchester City. Hinchcliffe. Scott. Overhead kick, Brightwell coming in. What a tremendous goal that was, created by Ian Scott's magnificent overhead kick. Hinchcliffe. That's Varadi. Butcher quickly in. Simpson. Good cross by Simpson. Varadi's header. And a perfect start for the Blues. 5 minutes on the clock. And Paul Simpson with an inch perfect cross to Imre Varadi. Stewart, and here's Varadi. What a start for the Blues, Imre Varadi. And once again, City score at lightning pace, just 2 minutes on the clock. Hinchcliffe chased up on the overlap, but the Blues going through the middle. Here's Stewart. Well, there was some luck in there, but Paul Stewart deserved it. Here's Berardi trying to make room for a shot, hits it left-footed, it gets a deflection, and that's 3-0, Imre Berardi. And Eric Nixon produces a tremendous save against Stuart Pearce. That really was a good save by Nixon. Lake knocks it to Gidman, headed into the box. Up in the air, Lake under it again. Stewart, Hinchcliffe finds a shot. And what a tremendous goal by Andy Hinchcliffe. That really fired into the top left-hand corner of Stephen Pearce's goal.
Well, as we've said, it's match day at Maine Road. One of the early arrivals is referee George Tyson. A few butterflies before the game.
Just the normal bit of tension before you go out in the atmosphere, which we're going to have tonight. But obviously, been around a long time and experienced. So now, because of the experience that I've had, you just take it all in your stride and go out there and enjoy the game.
Do you actually find that you can observe a match and enjoy a game of football? Can you actually enjoy the skillful side of the game when you're so close to it?
I enjoy refereeing, obviously. I mean, I've been refereeing now for 22 years. But I go out to do a job. If there's times when you can appreciate what's going on in the park, but sometimes there's so much other things going on in the park as well that you've got. But it's nice to come off and saying, well, you've enjoyed the game as well, apart from doing the job of work, which I enjoy. As a matter of fact, whether it was a hard game, I would still enjoy doing it. But it's nice sometimes to be involved in a game that flows, and if I can keep a low profile and be just there when I'm needed, and that's what it's all about.
Do you have any particular standard message before the game to captains and to managers? Does anything pass between you there? Or
Not a word.
No?
No, they know what they're going to do, and I know what I've got to do, and bring the team sheets in, and that's it. Nothing at all.
Actually, George, let's hope that it is such a good game.
I hope it's a good game.
You can also enjoy it.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Television commentator John Motson arrives early too, perhaps with some tips of the trade.
Well, I think the thing I would say about Manchester City is that throughout all the years I've been commentating, and it's about 15 years or more now, they are the one club that have always been unashamedly pro-television. I've been to other big clubs where the chairman at the time or the club in general have been in favour of TV coverage when things have been maybe going well, and then in the current climate sometimes they've said there's been too much television and they haven't felt so inclined to accept us. But I can honestly say without fear or favour that at Maine Road, I personally, but in particular the BBC in general, have always been made tremendously welcome, because the club does believe that television is good for the game, and they've been totally consistent in that policy. And consequently, because of that, I've always enjoyed coming here to such an extent that I look forward to games at Maine Road, I would think, as much as anywhere, because quite apart from that side of it, the actual position where we work here, in terms of my vantage point for the commentary, compares very favourably with any other ground in Europe. I mean, it's an absolutely splendid platform for camera work, and it's a terrific view for the commentator.
Well, finally, John, how much pleasure is added to by the team in coming to Maine Road, this exciting young team? How do you rate them? Have you seen them this season?
Well, I think that having just come off the back of a 10-1 win against Huddersfield, they're obviously at the moment full of confidence. I have to say, actually, over the period that I've come to Maine Road, even when the team hasn't been doing all that well, City have normally played a fairly attractive brand of football. It's my impression, rightly or wrongly, that this has always been one of the widest pitches in the league, and consequently City have normally played with wide men. I mean, I remember early on when I came here it was Summerby, and then it was Peter Barnes, and it was Dennis Stewart, and now it's Paul Simpson. And I think when you get a game with wingers, not forgetting, of course, White on the other flank, I think when you get a game with wingers, you're always going to see a more attractive football match. And that's why I think that although the City supporters have had lots of ups and downs to contend with, I don't think over the years they can complain about the games ever being uneventful.
John, enjoy the game. Thank you very much.
Pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's around this time that the Maine Road lobby resembles something of a hall of fame, with larger-than-life figures like Dennis Law, one of the greats of Maine Road's past, and, as in his playing days, ever ready to do a spot of clowning. Dennis Law, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Very well, very well.
Good.
Do you still enjoy coming back here? One of your old haunts, of course.
I do very much, and one of the main reasons is it's one of the few places that I get a free cup of tea and a free coffee, and you just walk straight across the screen.
We're sitting...
It'll be all right in the night, don't worry.
Dennis Norton.
Oh, there's another one, just...
Yeah.
They are a lovely club. Always have been. Ever since I first came in the early 60s, and then of course I had a spell across the road, then I came back here. But it is a club that you're always welcome. Always welcome. No matter who comes up these stairs, I always feel that they're given a, not a special welcome, but a welcome that that sometimes you don't get at the majority of clubs.
Especially welcome when you say good things about them, like they're on the way back.
Yes, yes. I hope everybody hears what I'm saying about them, because I only get a free coffee. Where's the sandwiches or whatnot, you know?
With about an hour to kick off, winger David White and goalkeeper Eric Nixon explain how they get in the mood.
Well, we've been here 10 minutes, but we were supposed to be at 6:15.
Yeah.
Just an hour and a quarter before the game, really.
What happens before a game? How do you actually relax? Do you try and relax, David?
Well, you've got to before a game, obviously, else you go out a bag of nerves. It's up to the individual, really, what he does. I mean, some players might not want to start getting changed till maybe 3/4 an hour before the game. Others need a lot longer. And whatever the manager wants, team start-wise.
I know that superstitions are rife in football. Eric, have you got any in particular as the goalkeeper?
Not really. The only superstition they've got to do is to make sure they go out second to take any penalties as the captain. Individually, I don't know if any of the other players have got any.
David?
I haven't personally. I think obviously a few of the lads, like I think Steve Redmond likes to come out for. I know Andy Hinchcliffe has a few silly little things that he likes to do. So. Obviously, again, it's up to the individual.
And with kick-off only minutes away, several players released the tension in the gym adjoining the tunnel, handy for a pre-match knockabout. And now the serious business.
Well, good evening and welcome to Maine Road for tonight's Littlewoods Cup 4th round tie between Manchester City and Watford, a place in the quarter-finals at stake for the victors. City have beaten Wolverhampton Wanderers and Nottingham Forest to get this far, whilst Watford demolished Darlington by an 11-0 aggregate, and then Swindon Town in the last round. After a 1-1 draw away, they won 4-2 at Vicarage Road. Both sides come into the game with victories behind them. City beating Reading 2-0, whilst Watford ended an 8-game without a victory sequence with a 2-1 home victory over Charlton Athletic. Looking at the two sides, starting with the City side. In goal, it's Eric Nixon. In 2, John Gidman. 3, Ian Brightwell, who's in the side because of an injury to Andy Hinchcliffe. Captain Kenny Clements wears number 4 shirt, Paul Lake at 5, Steve Redmond 6, David White at 7, Paul Stewart wears number 8, Tony Adcock at 9, Neil McNabb 10 and Paul Simpson number 11. Imre Varadi, who's been injured of late, he's back on the substitutes bench at number 12, and Ian Scott is number 14. The officials, George Tyson of Sunderland is the referee, the linesman Mr Nuttall of Mansfield and Mr Taylor of Shipley. Well, City, in a way, must start as favourites with 16 goals in the last 2 games here at Maine Road. They're currently 9th in the 2nd division, whilst Watford is struggling at the bottom of the 1st division. Actually, they're in 19th position. And with only 3 away goals all season in 6 games, City scoring hatfuls of goals. Well, optimism must be high for the Blues. And that's Sherwood for Watford. Roberts. And Brightwell knocks it back for Eric Nixon to get an early touch. White returns the ball to Gidman. And that's a good ball for Paul Stewart. Watford players closing in on him again. Obviously a marked man. Every time Paul Stewart gets the ball, it's noticeable that at least 2 Watford men are coming right to him. Paul Simpson then with a corner. Kenny Clements goes to the near post. Goes over the lot. Oh, what a tremendous goal. Just the start that City needed. With just 17 minutes on the clock, David White fires it in, low and hard into the bottom corner. The cross came over from Simpson, it was flicked on, and David White slammed it in. Simpson in the action. How he loves to run at plays, Paul Simpson. And it's Watford who have possession. Gibbs. This is a good run by Porter. Knocks it out to Allen. Chance for a shot. And Allen hits the post. What a tremendous effort from Malcolm Allen. It looked to be a goal all the way, and it came back off the post. Well, that should certainly encourage Watford. And possibly a warning to City. Adcock trying to flick that one onto Paul Lake. David White with some space. John Gidman overlapping him on the right. That's where the ball goes. Stewart and Adcock in the middle. If he can get a cross in. It's deep. Up goes Stewart. Well, that was almost an own goal by Mark Morris. But the offside flag from the linesman on the near side would have meant that the goal didn't count. A scare for Watford straight away. White. Return ball towards John Gidman. But Rostron knew what he was going to do. Sherwood. Brightwell very quickly in. Being urged on by the City supporters. Ian Brightwell tries a shot. And that was just a few inches wide from Ian Brightwell. He had a run in the first half and finished that one with a rather weak effort off target. But that was a much better effort from Ian Brightwell. Roberts. This is Porter. Sterling. Gibbs. First time effort comes off the underside of the crossbar from Gary Porter. And it's a goal. The ball had crossed the line. Malcolm Allen, in fact, had the shot. It came down off the underside of the crossbar. And the linesman on the far side decided that the ball had gone over the line. And so Watford back in the game. Lake. Stewart. Lake making the run. Here's Paul Lake. And this is going to be a goal. David White. What a tremendous goal by Manchester City once again. The ball was worked down the left-hand side. Paul Lake was involved. He stepped inside 2 Watford men. And then coming in at the far side, David White. And City back in the lead. David White. City win it back through McNabb. McNabb now charging forward, hits the left foot shot. Just past the post from Neil McNabb. McNabb. Simpson making a run on the left. Picked out by Neil McNabb. Simpson's cross, looked like handball, and that's a penalty. Paul Simpson crossed the ball in. Worrell Sterling put the hand out, and a penalty, a chance for City possibly to wrap this game up. Stewart versus Colton, and Stewart's missed it, but he knocks it in. The penalty well saved by Colton, and luckily for him the ball went straight back to Paul Stewart, who made no mistake with the second opportunity. And there goes the final whistle. Manchester City march forward to the quarter-finals of the Littlewoods Cup. Goals coming from David White, who scored once in the first half and then again in the second half. And Paul Stewart making sure from the penalty spot with 8 minutes to go. The one goal from Watford, from Malcolm Allen. A tight, competitive cup tie. And City determined, confidently and at times arrogantly go through to the quarter-finals of the Littlewoods Cup. The result, Manchester City 3, Watford 1.
And so goal-happy City advanced to the quarter-finals of the Littlewoods Cup with a 3-1 win. Almost a modest score, remembering the record-breaking 10-1 triumph over Huddersfield.
Well, quarter-finals of the League Cup, or the Littlewoods Cup as it's known, and 2 goals for you, David White. You must be pleased with the way the game went.
That's right, yeah, we scored an early goal straight from a corner, which just came across. I was expecting a flick at the near post, which no one seemed to get a touch on it, and just threw myself at it, and luckily it went in the far corner. Towards the end of the first half, early in the second half, they came back in the game, and they had a few chances, and then they scored a goal which we certainly don't think was in. I mean, sure the television pictures will prove whether I'm right or wrong there, but we don't think the linesman was in any position to give the goal. And we maybe got a bit worried then, but luckily I got another goal after some great work by Paul Lakes, and from then on we were always favourites to win it, which we did.
The determination in this City side at the moment is terrific.
Yeah, I think that's what the manager's instilled in us, is about closing down, working for each other, encouraging each other, and generally when he came, he's always said to us he knows we can play, and I think he was always worried about how we defend, how we close each other other teams down and stop them playing. And I think recently, I think that's 9 games we've gone unbeaten now, and that's what he's instilled in us, and I think that's what's worrying other teams, that's what's causing them problems, that's what's making us getting some good wins.
It's very much City on the move these days. Let's catch up with them on the road, on an away trip to West Brom.
Well, here we are, 2:05, 55 minutes to kick off. Do you get nervous at this stage in the preparations?
No, not really. No, we've just arrived from the hotel. This is just you get used to it after all the games I've been through. We just come out to see what studs we're going to wear. That's all.
City supporters over there will be in strong support, no doubt.
Yeah, there's more our supporters than theirs at the moment. I think that corner over there will be full.
Looking ahead to today's game, West Bromwich Albion aren't doing that well in the division. City are on a high at the moment. You must be confident this afternoon.
Yeah, these are the more difficult games when you can raise your game when you're playing a better team, a top of the league team, which we have been doing just recently, and we've been playing well. But we seem to struggle sometimes, especially at home against lower teams. So we've just got to keep things going. We just keep a level, and we've reached a good level at the moment. We've got to keep it.
The players warm up before the game, hoping for another away victory.
So at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion versus Manchester City. On a beautiful afternoon for football, good crowd, and it's Manchester City to kick off. Manchester City in picture, Paul Lake there, with number 9, Tony Alcock. Manchester City, ball out to the left. There it is with the Adcock back again, but broken up nicely there by Carlton Palmer, and it's West Bromwich Albion just giving a first feel to the goalkeeper there, Stuart Naylor. A long high ball trying to test the centre of the City defence, and it's West Bromwich on the attack, and that was Andy Gray there missing a golden opportunity for West Bromwich Albion to take a very, very early lead. Manchester City, an escape for them in that first few minutes. Now it's City trying to get their act together again down that left-hand side, but again the ball goes out to Carlton Palmer. Palmer, a long ball, but it's not good enough to beat Paul Lake, and Paul Lake in turn testing with a long ball there, but again Tony Adcock couldn't get onto the end of it. Naylor a long ball on. Ball into touch. Really what you'd call a deflection rather than a shot, but that's given Albion a 1-goal lead against Manchester City. Manchester City with a corner. Half cleared. Comes up there, but Manchester City trying to keep this pressure on with Gidman. Gidman plays the ball out wide down that right to White. White, not a good centre, but nearly causing problems. But again, the ball out wide to, on the right, McNabb there. Again, a poor centre there by McNabb, but Albion not looking that confident in defence, and if City can just put the attack together as McNabb takes this corner, again headed out by the Albion defence, back to McNabb. McNabb got Gidman wide if he's going to use him. Does do, Gidman checks. Back to McNabb. Now it's City's Clements. Clements out to Simpson. Simpson checks on that byline, checks it back again. Long ball down there, flicked on there to number 5 Paul Lake, but not a good ball there, and an easy ball for the Albion defence. Well, half time, it's City 1 goal to nil behind. That all important goal by Don Goodman, giving the Albion that 1-goal lead. So the second half, Manchester City got to come forward now. Kenny Clements to Gidman. Gidman tries to get that ball into the penalty area, but he succeeds in getting a corner. Corner to City. Well, City, a young team, they've kept Imre Varadi on the substitutes bench, kept faith with the youngsters. Let's see if they've got the ability to come back. Corner comes across, and a good header there from Paul Lake, just over the top. The City strive for the equaliser. A long ball out. Now it's looking dangerous as it's West Brom's turn to check. And a good shot there from Morley, and a brilliant save by Eric Nixon, keeping City in the game. Well, it would have made it so much harder at 2-0, but Nixon used all his ability there. The free kick there by Redmond into the edge of the penalty area, headed down, and Adcock wanting just a little bit too much time there as the ball whipped off his toes for a corner. So corner to City, going to be taken by Paul Simpson. Paul Simpson, an in-swinger. Ball headed clear there by Carlton Palmer. Still Simpson with the ball, but not quite good enough to beat Albion goalkeeper Stuart Naylor. But City again, Simpson gets the ball back, but he doesn't. It's McNabb out wide to Stewart out on the left, has to go back, but he still keeps possession. Well, not one of his better efforts, that. A throw in there, David Burrows to Graham Hogg. Graham Hogg loses out though, and it's Gidman plays it back. A long shot there all along the ground, but again Stuart Naylor, the Albion goalkeeper, equal to it. Simpson. Oh, and that was Tony Adcock being fetched down from behind, and City with a free kick. Well, what can we do with this? It's a 1-2 there by City, and a good shot, but again it's a little bit too far out to really test the Albion goalkeeper, Stuart Naylor. City, Imre Varadi, ball across there, headed on there by White. City having to go back but keeping possession, but again it's Carlton Palmer, the Albion number 2. Loses the ball this time though, nicely played by Adcock. and it comes through to Paul Lake, and a good shot there from Paul Lake, the Manchester City central defender. But now it's Albion's turn to attack. It's Albion breaking down their right wing. Wayne Dobbins into the area, good centre, good shot there, or should I say a miss really by Tony Morley. So City in this last few minutes. So in the last few seconds of the match, can City get the winner? Varady plays it wide down that right hand side, ball into the area but headed away there. Gidman puts it back into that Albion penalty area, and a back pass there, just taking the pressure off for West Bromwich Albion. And there's the final whistle. It's West Bromwich Albion 1, Manchester City 1.
No win this time, but an exciting game, and City unlucky not to take all 3 points, and a draw still keeps up their fine away record. And that's your close-up view of Manchester City. Now the First Division is in focus, and who knows what other glories also lay in store.
And Redmond once again very cool. Good header by Stewart, finds Simpson, takes on Ranson. Once again Paul Lake with a run through the middle. That's becoming a feature this afternoon. Stewart plays with Roberts. Stewart gets a shot left footed. What a try!